Hey y'all, it's your Queen Pimp Sun Kids coming through right quick, right fast, maybe, with a Royale review and reaction for the Bernie Mac show. And today, we open it up fresh with the pilot, episode 1, season 1. And so this is another one also where the pilot is not episode 0, is actually labeled as episode 1. Okay, so just a little backstory on the Bernie Mac show for those of you who may not know. The first episode air dates of the Bernie Mac show was November 14th, 2001. Interesting. Okay. Just hold it though. Anywho, so this show is very innovative, and I feel like I realized how innovative it was when I was younger and I used to see it. See, I didn't watch it like that, but it used to be on the TV when I was fixing to get in the shower nights before school, the next morning. And, I saw like bits and pieces, watch it in passing, like this, like that. But lately, I just decided to somewhat binge watch it and look at it, and I just saw a lot of things that deserved praise and deserved discussion. So here we are. Now, when I decided to do this show, I did not know that it was going to be relevant for the reasons that it's kind of relevant for today, in recent news. Discussions coming up about the actresses that played Nessa and Baby Girl being on OnlyFans now. And I'm just going to go ahead and address that and get it out the way. Like I said, no, that has nothing to do with me choosing to do this show. I had already decided to do it before the news about Baby Girl came out and before I even knew about that with Nessa. Now, what I have to say about that? Child, that's their business. They grown. That's their body. That's their bag. That's their business. And I honestly feel like they wouldn't be doing that if they didn't absolutely want to or feel like they had to. So get it how you live. If you found a passion for making that thing and swing like this here for a piece of change, go ahead. Get it how you live. And baby, if you been struggling for the change lately, ain't no shame in the game. Do your thing. And I wish them both the best. Now, with all that being said, I just wanna read off the blurbs, which would be the text that describes the show as a whole and the text that describes the episode that I'm focusing on today in itself. So we have, for the overall synopsis of the show, and this is per Google, of course, Bernie and his wife Wanda reluctantly step into the roles of parents when his sister drops off her 3 kids. Naive Brianna, nerdy Jordan, and teenager Vanessa en route to rehab. His views on child rearing are hardly politically correct, but Bernie tries his best. Now, y'all, this is the first time I have ever read that blurb. And when I was watching the show, as I am now today, and like actually watching it, because when I was younger, like I said, I was watching it in passing, but actually watching it now, like I said, I see how innovative this show is, and I also notice even more fully, I feel like I noticed it a little bit when I was younger, but I notice it even more now watching it, that he was shooting a reality show. And that's one of the main things that makes his sitcom, his fatherhood, Cosby-esque, mimicking, inspiration taking type show different. The fact that his is set up, that's why it's shot like that. It's a sitcom, but it's shot in a way that's more closer up. It's not like this one like stage setting type thing. You actually move throughout the house with him. He has his own confessional room. It's a reality show, and his storyline for the reality show is having to take in his nieces and his nephew, his sister's kids, because his sister has a little issue with liking to inhale the fumes of toxic healing stones, if you will. Catching my drift, because we only about 5-6 minutes in and trying not to say certain things. So yeah, she has an issue with enjoying the sensation of inhaling the fumes of toxic healing stones. Toxic and healing, that's a bit of an oxymoron, but you know what I'm talking about, okay? You know what I'm talking about. And with that being said, about this being shot as a reality show, this is also very like amazing to me because this show came out during 2001, the very early 2000s, where reality TV was really starting to bloom and get its legs in the entertainment industry. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the only fatherhood sitcom type situation that was done in a reality show style. And I'm gonna have to do some research to see like what made them want to take that route with it, and what made them want to take that route specifically with it being Bernie Mac. Now, if I had to say for myself, it would be because Bernie Mac is, well, he was a very polarizing, controversial type, dirty, if you will, type of comedian. And like the blurb says, he wasn't a politically correct comedian. He's very much so like Robin Harris, where he says what he means what he says, get right straight to it. He's like our old drunk uncle at the cookout, if you will. I ain't saying either one of them were drunks, but you just catch my drift. Like, he don't care what he say. It's what he said, is what he meant, and it is what it is. He don't mind talking about whooping kids. He don't mind talking about the dirty nasty, Mr. Nasty time. He don't mind cussing. He don't mind telling it like it is, and what it's gonna be. Getting straight to it, to the nitty gritty. And also, you could say, especially for the time period, him being this big, tall, dark-skinned black man, they had to find a way to make him consumable universally, right? Because that's how things tend to work because of people's biases and the media's propaganda. So, on top of him being aesthetically the type of person that a lot of the world is conditioned and taught to fear, on top of him being a vulgar type of comedian, I could see that's part of the reason why they wanted to do this reality show style. Because a lot of the time when people who are already celebrities do reality shows, it's usually to reform their image. And and that's the topic within itself. It kind of just occurred to me in this way as I'm speaking, but black male celebrities in general seem to have to do this in order to cross over into mainstream. And it's interesting to me because a lot of people would say that they have to be gay for pay in order to cross over into mainstream. And whether it's truth to that in any percentage or not, that is not predominantly the case from what I see. And I can name off quite a few examples: Bill Cosby, Bernie Mac, Damon Wayans, T.I., Ice Cube. I can say Ice-T as well. There are quite a few black male celebrities that started off, as whether they were comedians, rappers, actors. They started off very vulgar, very edgy, very even black y'all, bliggity black y'all. And it seems as though in order to cross over into mainstream and let the world know that they are not to be feared, they had to do some type of like docuseries of their reform in the form of a reality show. And that is very much so displayed and emphasized in this show, specifically as it concerns a lot of his confessionals. He has certain people come in and kind of give him these speeches or have these conversations with him concerning, well, you could do this as a comedian, Bernie, but you can't do this on TV, or you can't do this now, or, times are changing and this and that. And it's kind of trying to stress to him, hey, kind of saying it without saying it in certain ways. Like, hey, you trying to change your image, you got to handle this differently, stuff like that. Or you want to keep the kids, you got to handle this differently. So them saying, and I'll point it out more as I go through the show, but them saying like, oh, we want the kids to stay here, you want to keep the kids, you want to do this and that for the kids, then you have to make this type of change. Thinking about the fact that it's a reality show and considering all the things that I have learned about reality shows and how they have a tendency to use coded communication in order to not break the fourth wall, I feel like that's kind of a tactic that they were using, like a actor's choice, director's choice, writer's choice type thing that they were using to fit the reality show theme and element of it, while all the while in a real sense, it's a real reality that if he does not change his ways, then he will not be able to keep those kids. They'll be taken from him. And not only that, if he's to only pretend that he's making changes for the kids, that's going to show. And it's going to show as the kids get older, and whether or not they're making improvements or whether or not their situation and their response to their situation is getting worse. It's heavily dependent on him. Not to mention, with it being understood now that it's a reality show, it makes me have to watch this again in a different lens, especially as it concerns how the kids behave. Because not only, like, it just occurred to me that not only are we dealing with kids who are coming out of very traumatic situation and coming into a new, like, rather luxurious lifestyle similar to that of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but also they are on a reality show. So this adds layers and stakes to the process of trust building between Bernie, Wanda, and the two of them with the kids. The trust dynamics all the way around in every individual in unison sense. Actually, because what we're also having to think about, acknowledge, and keep in mind is that Vanessa has ultimately been their mother up until this point. Even though Vanessa is a child, she's been their parent up until this point because their parents have not been being parents. Okay? So the blurb for episode 1, season 1 in particular. Bernie Mac's life was good. He had his stand up, his beautiful wife Wanda, a nice house, good car, and peace and quiet until his sister can no longer take care of her kids, leaving Vanessa, 13, Jordan, 8, and Brianna, aka Baby Girl, 5, in his tender, loving care. So that lets us know that Bernie and his wife were the fun, childless aunt and uncle that you go spend the night with. Y'all go over there to have a cookout. Y'all go over there to swim during the summertime. And you get your life lifetime map. And then they send the kids on back where they came from. So in real life, in correlation with, what they're distributing and presenting here with the show, it's definitely showing like, because I'm sure for some people in real life, they had the experience of thinking that their aunt or uncle was so cool when they used to just go spend the night over there, go swim over there, whatever, and then go home. And then came a situation where they actually had to live with them, and they find out that all of that was real temporary. All of that was real conditional, and these folks really ain't who I thought they was. And then you have certain situations, like what this show goes about portraying, where you realize that what they've been showing you in those little increments of time, it was real. It's just also a reality that even the humans that are adults, that you grew up around, that you love and are fun, and they love you, they are flawed. And they experience fear. They experience nervousness. They experience making mistakes and having to do something over and over and over again until they get it right. And with all of that being said, I love how all of that is displayed on this show. And because my little intro went way longer than I expected or planned, I'm going to let this be what it is, and I'm going to come back in another video with the actual review for episode 1. So this is just some, backstory, background, overall commentary. Hope y'all ain't mad at me because, of the intro. But, of course, the title is going to say exactly what this is. So, thank y'all. With all that being said, I have milked this part of the cow dry. And I am thoroughly appreciative of the exchange of vibes. And if you're feeling synchronized, please like, share, and subscribe so that you can be one of the first to be back through these queenly quotas for the next time. And so that you can be one of the first to be back through these queenly quotas for the actual review of episode 1. And be sure to bless my comment section with your questions and conversations. And as always, I bid you all light, love, healing, and liberation. Emphasis on liberation. Mwah.